Greetings, travelers. I'm Josh,
And I'm Kahi.
and we're
The
the
Genshin
Genshin
guys.
guys. Welcome all. This podcast is for fans of Genshin Impact, the mobile game made by Hoyoverse, formerly known as MiHoYo. Here we talk about our opinions, experiences, and dreams about Genshin Impact. We have new episodes every Monday, so if you like our show, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to the podcast. So, Kahi, before we get started, how are you doing today?
Tired, very tired, but I have just enough energy for the podcast. I have been watching a lot of anime this past week. Are you watching Akiba Maid War or no? Did you hear of that yet?
I am not, and I have not heard of it.
Oh my god, it's great. For anyone who's listening, Akiba Maid War is hilarious. It's like over the top humor, very extreme comedy, but it's great. It's my anime of the season right now. But what about you, Josh? What have you been up to lately?
Interesting. Yes, what have I been up to lately? I've been watching Spy Family.
Oh, lovely.
But yeah, in terms of anime, there's still a lot of anime I want to watch. My backlog is gigantic, so I'm gonna check out some of those, and maybe we'll talk about that sometime soon. But yeah, my week's been pretty chill. I'm playing Genshin. We'll get to that soon. I've also been playing Dead by Daylight and Overwatch, and there's just been like Halloween events, and it's really fun because Halloween is, as of this recording, Halloween is tomorrow for me here in Japan. So, just kind of getting ready for that in a fun way, playing Halloween games and stuff. So, yeah, so that's been my week so far. Now I'll get started by introducing today's topics for the podcast. First of all, as always, our week in Genshin. After that, we will have Genshin news, followed by another segment of lore learn along. This time we're focusing on Venessa, the Hero of Mondstadt. So if you're interested, buckle up. There's a lot to talk about. And we have the return of Whose Voice Line, episode 3, where I will be playing some voice lines from characters, and we will be guessing together who is this character's voice line. So, this voice line's character. Yeah. So, let's go ahead and get started with our first topic, our week in Genshin. So, Kahi, how was your week in Genshin this week?
Pretty slow. My farming is kind of leveled off. I mean, I already have a good artifact set for Nahida, got a weapon. I'm just kind of refining some other weapons. I'm still looking for a good artifact set for Kaching, but I'm probably going to start focusing on some other characters because honestly, after Nahida, I'm just waiting for Dea, and that's pretty much it. So I'm probably just going to start I'm probably going to start working on my Hazel again because Hazel is actually really fun. Again, I haven't used him for a while, so still using Sayu, which is hilarious. I love my Sayu team. But yeah, after I get Nihida, I'm just gonna use my resin just to keep leveling her up, and then just kind of work on my other characters at that point. Um, at a certain point, I still gotta finish all the open world quests in the desert. I still have to find that one place in the forest that has all the chests because I keep seeing people saying, "Hey, I found it! I found it!" I'm like, okay, I still need to find it too. So I'm probably gonna work on my quest either tomorrow or within the next week if I have nothing to do. What about you, Josh? How was your week in Genshin?
Oh yeah, so this week for me, I finished those events, the Star Seeker Sojourn and the Wind Chaser events, and so those were pretty interesting. Yeah, it wasn't the hide and seek event. It was like the running around with the Mario coins kind of event. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, it was really weird. There was a lot of mechanics about it that were very easily pass overable using like Shao or Kazuha. So it was pretty interesting. Like I sometimes felt like there was a different way to play it, but I just also was trying to rush the event at the same time. So I was thinking of just different ways I could use Kazuha to pass through the sections that I didn't feel like spending the time to figure out. It was an interesting idea, but I feel like maybe they could have restricted you a little bit more to make it make more sense in terms of like the puzzle aspect of it. Um, Other than that, I was leveling Kokomi. She's level 80 now, and I'm leveling Diluc and Toma because I want to make a Burgeon team with Nahida so that I can have like this like fire and fire shield character, and see how that works. I've also been prepping for Nahida in terms of like getting her materials, getting her talent materials, as well as just trying to stockpile as many experience books as I can. And so I've been using resin on that. But yeah, other than that, I also have to do a bunch of world quests. I'm really excited to do that. But remember, next week we're going to be talking about the big world quests, the Arnar quest and the Golden Slumber, the King Deshret quest with Jet and Jabriel. So make sure to finish that. Listeners, make sure to finish that before next week so that you can join our discussion about those really, really long story quests. Kahi, you finished both of those, is that correct? Or did you not finish Arnar yet?
I didn't finish Aranara, but I did finish the Jebrail and Jet. Um, I can already assume that it's better than the Aranara. I'm just gonna put that out there. No matter how that one ends, I like the desert more. I don't know why I like the desert more than the forest. Maybe it's just I like the mystery. I like the aesthetic and all like the the ruins of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
Sumeru
the
was nice,
Aranara
but
was like
man,
the Aranara quest though. It's like it uses the Aranara like those little guys, and I think they're supposed to be more like cute. The story is cute. I mean, it has to do with them. So yeah, I think that I also just prefer this like epic desert aesthetic, you know. So yeah, I feel you. So that was our weeks in Genshin. So let's go ahead and talk about Genshin news this week. And actually, there was not that much Genshin news to talk about. We did have two birthdays. We had Kazuha's birthday on October 29th, and then we had Nahida's birthday on October 27th. And then on October 27th, the trailer for Nahida, her preview trailer, also released, and it was basically about her birthday because it released on her birthday, and the timing couldn't have been better. And we wanted to have a quick discussion about this trailer because this trailer is very emotional. I think it's very sad, but at
sad,
the same time, like it is very interesting, because we have yet to see the full length, the full we don't have full understanding yet of Nahida's life up until now, right? We have an idea that she was like trapped inside of the sanctuary and by the academia and etc. And that she's been able to communicate with people by jumping into people through the Akasha system. But we get kind of like a more visceral glimpse of like what Nahida experienced maybe before and even during being trapped in the sanctuary. And yeah, it was really interesting. So uh Kahi, like you watched the trailer, right?
yes, I had to watch it twice just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But I know there are some people that are trying to decode like the actual like in-game or the actual Sumerian language title subtitles, and I'm pretty sure some people figured it out, but I forgot what they posted. But I didn't want to take that as like truth because I don't know how much is actually true about the writing that they're using. But did you hear anything about that? People translating it?
I didn't hear about people translating it. I definitely did notice it, but it is definitely there's definitely meaning hidden in the words that she says and the way that it was shown. So
The loop.
yeah, this like loop, and of course like there's this like time loop of life kind of theme across Sumeru, and I'm just really curious to see how different people interpreted exactly what was happening in the trailer, because she basically, if you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend you go see it. But basically, you wake up. She wakes up over and over again, and follows a similar sentence structure. Actually, I'm pretty sure she says this almost the same exact sentences every time, multiple times. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she
it's
did.
yeah, and so it's just a really, it gets like progressively sad and dark every single time, even using the same words. So it's really really interesting. I don't know, what did you think about it?
I want. to really take every future phrase that these trailers use and really try to take it as like a hint of the story going forward. Because when we met Nahida, or I think in one of her first reveals, correct me if I'm wrong, but does she say this world runs in a loop? Or does she say like everything in this world runs in a loop?
I
Because that's
think
really different. Do you know the line I'm talking about?
um no, but here let me look it up real quick. I mean I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the
Yeah,
wording. But let me see it.
because Nahida being like based around, or kind of is the god of wisdom,
Ah,
is probably our biggest hint to what to where the game is going. Because if the world itself runs in a loop, everything that we know of the lore and history is then bound or doomed to repeat itself, which kind of tells me like, are we gonna get some kind of second Archon war of some
right,
sort,
right, right. So
or
yeah,
like a second coming of the
so
gods?
Nahida implies everything in this world runs in a loop, implying that
Okay,
Teyvat
that's
runs in a
different.
loop.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So
okay, because the thing is, everything in the world is different from the world itself. So the distinction I'm trying to draw is that if the world itself is running in a loop, then everyone's in some kind of weird simulation. But if everything in the world is running in a loop, then that means there's some other kind of force involved. There's like an
right,
external force. We're not in something.
yeah.
We're like being affected by something. It's like it's the world causing the problems, not the thing. It's things causing problems in the world.
Or just like everything. I mean, if it's really said everything in this world runs in a loop, then and if they mean that dialogue as it's read, then that means like this world specifically, right? It's not a general statement. It's like saying
Oh
this is
yeah, that
our
could
problem,
yeah.
right? So, and when I think about the greater scale of Honkai and a lot of the things that happened in that, there was actually like there's like this alternate dimension called the Sea of Quantum, and like inside there's like multiple pocket universes, and they all run in loops. So like there's like this is not a new concept to like the Hoyoverse game. So I'm really curious if at some point this will be connected. Um, but yeah, there is an interesting thing that you bring up.
I'm still trying to remember that other line. World forget me.
Right.
Like, is somehow like memory tied to like what happens in the world? Like,
Well, I think
because
that one we will
Layla
find
is
out
the
about, right?
Dreamwalker too.
Yeah, we'll
Mm-hmm.
find out most
Oh
likely
yeah,
about
it's
this.
coming.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
this next update. So yeah, so I'm gonna read this article here from Yahoo News actually, explaining the teaser that we were talking about, where they say here, in the teaser, Nahida recalls a dream where she was found by the Knights of Flowers on her birthday, who eagerly said, "Oh Archon, we found you." He reaches out a hand to her and brings her to the Sub-Zero's festival, where she is celebrated by the people and ends with her leaving in a flower carriage. She then repeats her dialogue, mimicking what happens to the traveler in the Sub-Zero Festival of Samsara in Act 1 of the Sumeru Archon quest, but in this dream, she is found by the traveler who acts like the Knight of Flowers and is surrounded by other Sumeru characters like Dea, Alhaitham, Tenari, Sino, and Nilu, as well as Paimon. And they tell her, "Oh Archon, we have finally found you," as they reach out to her. Nahida can be seen smiling happier than in her first dream, enjoying the Sub-Zero's festival with her newfound friends. Once again, the dream ends when she leaves on a flower carriage. The dream repeats a third time. The ambience is noticeably darker now, and you can hear the tiredness in Nahida's voice as she yet again narrates her dream. There's no jubilant celebration, however. The scene is red, dark, and incredibly ominous. This version of the dream seems to depict the moment that Nahida was found by the sages, who lamented the fact that her existence meant the demise of the beloved Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. She is seen being dragged by the arm as sad faces surround her, and she is tossed into the sanctuary of Sirasthana to be locked away. Eagle-eyed fans also noticed the subtitles written in Sumeru script during this segment. Okay, and um, so basically in this like how you were saying like the you don't know if that's like true or not, but if we're gonna go off of what the people have translated, um, like the subtitles were as translated like the flower carriage rocked. Nahida opened her eyes. She said, "Just dreamed a dream. Dreamed of the day she was born. Dreamed of the day the sages found her. Alas, but where had Lord Rukkhadevata gone to? We're all eager to meet her once again." Realizing the Lord had perished, around her they gathered. To tears they were dashed. In the end, Nahida was locked in by the devout. In the end, no one could Nahida reach out. So I think that it might just be more specific, but also the same thing, and explaining what is happening in the trailer. Um, and there may be like some language translation thing based on this, maybe because it was most likely originally written in Chinese. But yeah, it says here the fourth time, last time, Nahida repeats her dialogue, but she doesn't finish. This time, there's an undeniable hint of resignation and sorrow in her voice as she speaks. She opens her eyes and reveals that she is still trapped in the sanctuary of Surasana, as we discovered in Chapter 2 of the Sumeru Archon quest. When I woke up, I was in a flower carriage. It was my birthday. Happy birthday, Nahida. It doesn't help me or tons of fans all over the world to know that her character teaser was released on the 27th of October, which is canonically her birthday. Yeah, that's what the person who wrote the article said. So yeah, so there was this really, it's like a retelling of something of it. I don't know if it's a retelling, but it's her saying the same words over and over again, but showing different parts of her life that seem to have happened or will happen, because like this traveler helping her out and stuff. I don't know if that's meant to be considered the future, or if they're even like working backwards or just not even chronologically at all. So, but it was very emotionally distressing as as a trailer. So, so what do you
Mm-hmm.
think, Kahi?
They nailed the voice.
Yeah,
The voice actress is great. A great choice for this, by the way.
the English one.
She, yeah, she really does it very, very well.
Yeah.
Um, I think the phrase I was looking for earlier was palindrome. The
I see. I
palindrome,
see.
like a sense,
Something is
it's
forward
a
and
word of the
backwards.
phrase. Yeah. It's not really going backwards, but it's just starting from the beginning again. It's kind of going in a loop. But I guess a palindrome could kind of also be it
Yeah.
because it just happens in the
I,
exact same order,
I mean, palindrome
technically.
is when something happens if something reads the same backwards as forwards, right?
Yeah. So yeah. So if you went with, I mean, if you went in reverse order, it's still going to be those three things happening, like carriage, wake up, you know, getting found.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay, maybe I'm overthinking this, but um, so
I
with
mean,
this
we'll
particular
find out
trailer,
more, right?
I'm taking it as just a yeah. We'll find out more. I need to pay more attention to like their specific words and phrases in the trailers, not just take it as, oh, that's cool text, oh, that's a cool phrase. Hey, they're kind of telling us what is going to be happening, because we're more than halfway through like what the game is kind of promising to reveal to us. So we're nearing a very big turning point.
Yeah, I'm really curious how this next section is gonna resolve with Scaramouche. So and how that affects Nahida, being like that Nahida's going to help you defeat him, and also like according to the trailer, and also that hopefully Nahida takes her place as rightfully as the Archon, the Dendro Archon, and like people can actually respect her. So I'm curious if we will see something because we've never all these teaser trailers, they don't show up in game, right? Like they're all like they all happen outside of the game. But I'm wondering if we'll see something similar to this or reference to this in the game. Um, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much of this. Like we'll see if we learn anything that connects more to these events, so that we know exactly what is happening. So I have a feeling that once we finish this new Archon quest and we go back and watch this teaser, it'll make more sense. I mean, it is a
A
teaser.
loop.
Yeah.
Play, watch trailers. Play, watch trailers.
Right.
Spend, roll.
Someone said like I figured out what Nahida meant when she said Tevat runs on a loop. Log in, dailies, resin, sleep, repeat. So I mean that's a thing too. Okay, so Nahida's trailer, very very interesting. Nice bit of story, really emotional. And it makes us excited just to learn more about Nahida and learn more about the story. So really excited for that. Now, next thing we want to mention is actually just a couple hours before we started recording this, they did drop information on Nahida's weapon, 1,000 Floating Dreams Catalyst. And this weapon has, based on level 90 and refinement rank 1, has elemental mastery 265, base attack 542. And the buff that it gives is that when party members other than the equipping character, um, like okay, party members other than the equipping character will provide the equipping character with buffs based on whether their elemental type is the same as the latter or not. If their elemental types are the same, increase elemental mastery by 32. If not, increase the equipping character's damage bonus from their elemental type by 10%. Each of the aforementioned effects can have up to 3 stacks. Additionally, all nearby party members other than the equipping character will have their elemental mastery increased by 40. Multiple such effects from multiple such weapons can stack. Okay, so what do you think about this, Gahi? This first impression?
Elemental mastery everywhere. It's everywhere. Spec into it now. The game wants you to do everything with elemental mastery. Attack is no longer required. You don't need to worry about attack anymore. You don't need to worry about crit damage, no crit percentage. ER doesn't matter. Just everything elemental mastery going forward.
Why? Why do you say that?
I'm just kidding. I'm sarcastic, by the way. But like the every time like they come up with like the last couple of weapons, the really good weapons, it's centered around elemental mastery, which makes sense because Dendro is here. They want a lot of people to synergize with Dendro or like combine effects with Dendro.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, so it makes sense, but it doesn't feel like this particular weapon is specifically for Nahida because I mean, Raiden Shogun's her polearm is energy recharge, and her kit is energy recharge. Do more damage based on energy recharge, and when she uses her elemental burst, and every time she hits people with it, it gives her team more energy recharge. So that's kind of her whole design philosophy. Just give everyone their elemental burst, their most powerful ability, quicker. Then you have Zhang Li. He's like HP everything. He does more damage based on
Wait,
HP.
but
His
this
shield is
makes
stronger.
sense
He
for
wants to
Nahida
live.
though. This is Nahida's
Yeah,
weapon because Nahida's burst directly involves what depending on what other kinds of elements are in the party.
right. But I mean, it doesn't seem as like strong thematically for her. But she is the Dendro Archon, so I guess it's more hyper focus on just that one element. I guess. What am I trying to get at here? So Zhongli, he has his shield, his defensive capability. He lives longer. He has more health. You have Raiden Shogun, who is the most, I would say, like one of the most powerful ones because she has way more attacks during her elemental burst and is always trying to focus on the giving people their strongest abilities and powers. Nahida just wants to. I don't feel like it just matches her personality type so much. I mean, I'm thinking thematically here. I
I mean,
understand that it's Dendro. You
thematically,
want
she
mastery
is
with
the
it,
ultimate Dendro support who supports anybody
right?
who uses Dendro in an elemental reaction whatsoever. If Nahida if we're saying it's Nahida and she's Dendro, and that there's another Dendro person in her party, she gets more elemental mastery. And then if it's not Nahida, I mean it's not a Dendro character, like it's a Pyro, Hydro, or Electro character, then Nahida's element damage bonus from that elemental type goes up by 10%, which means that if you are using a character that has a different element from Dendro, they apply their element first, and then Nahida procs their reaction. Then Nahida, like, because the damage from the reaction comes from whoever activates the reaction, right? So the second element, and so that means Nahida, if she's the one that accidentally triggers something, even though it's maybe intended to be the other way around, then she will do more damage. Is that what I assume it is? Like because she'll get more like pyro damage because they're a pyro type. Like she'll get more pyro damage from them because they're a pyro type. That's what it seems like.
I was always under the impression that elemental mastery is if you have a character that causes the reaction, that character's elemental mastery determines how much damage is
Exactly.
created.
Exactly.
Or, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if Nahida is trying to be a support, she wants to give elemental mastery to her team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, she's just an applicator. Because this whole thing is focusing on her gaining elemental mastery, but then if she causes the reaction that is applied by someone else, then okay, this is it's a little bit confusing, but I understand like her whole kit wants to revolve around her having elemental mastery. It makes sense.
Right. So this is what I
But
think it is because it says each of the aforementioned effects can have up to 3 stacks, which means that if you were gonna do like a team of, um, like I said, I want to do like Burgeon and Dendro, like Dendro. Okay, wait. Let's do this. Let's do the easiest one. Nilo, Hyper Bloom, right? What Hydro and Dendro party only. Now, if you do, um, if you so like I think part of it is that like when you are like just throwing a bunch of elemental reactions onto an enemy, chances are you're not always going to hit the reaction and activate the reaction in the order that you want, right? Like sometimes you'll accidentally hit it with Nahida, and sometimes you'll accidentally hit it with Nilu, like for Dendro and Hydro. But in this case,
right,
if Nahida does hit it and activates the Hydro damage, if that's the case, I don't know, then her elemental damage for water will go up, for Hydro will go up by 20% because this 10% stacks per how many Hydro characters in your party. So if you have 2 Hydro characters in your party, her elemental damage for water goes up, or for Hydro goes up by 20. And if you have Nahida and then 3 Hydros, you'll have Nahida's Hydro damage will also go up by 30%. I'm assuming that's how it works. And then if you have 2 Dendros and you have 2 Hydros, then your Hydro damage bonus goes up by 20%, and your Elemental Mastery goes up by 32, and then everybody in your party's Elemental Mastery goes up by 40. So it's just basically like creating this environment where like anybody can do reactions and it will do a ton of damage. I think that's the whole point. And you get more of a benefit if you
yeah,
focus
it
on,
boils down to that.
yeah, you get a benefit if you focus on having more of the same character type in your party, of the damage that you want to do. So like it doesn't benefit if you do like, if you have Electro, Hydro, and Pyro and Nahida, and you have this weapon, it doesn't do much for you. But if you have like Nahida and 3 Hydros, or 2 Hydros and 2 Dendros, or 2 Hydros and 2 Pyros, or Nahida and 3 Pyros, then the damage should be crazy. And so I'm hoping, like, for example, this, if I don't think I'm gonna go for this weapon, but if I see someone use this weapon with like a Burgeon comp, like Fire and Dendro or whatever, then maybe they can do a ton of burning damage and do a ton of explosion damage from the Dendro cores. So yeah, there's a lot of ways you can use this, and I think we are not the best people to probably figure this out. It's probably leave this up to the people who do the entire YouTube channels based
The
off of the
math.
numbers and yeah, and the math. So I'm really curious, but I feel like from just reading the description, it fits Nahida's theme of being the ultimate Dendro support for all the elements that react with Dendro. That I feel like it fits that. But I mean, if it doesn't, if the buff isn't good enough, or if it doesn't like do much, then maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't really work with her. But I mean, like, I'm curious. What do you think Nahida's theme is then?
Well, I mean, and I'm sure it matches like her kit, but as far as like theme, or like it matches like her character personality or type, I'm not too sure if this seems like it can only be used with Nahida, which is it's true for all the other weapons, but Raiden Shogun's like weapon seems to really work the best with Raiden Shogun, right? Zhongli's spear, ironically, was actually not his best in slot. It was actually Hu Tao's weapon that works best with Zhongli. But looking at this one, I'm not too sure if this is specifically the best weapon for Nahida. This could actually be the best weapon for someone else, maybe like an animal character. But it could work with a lot of Catalyst users because they do all elemental damage, and I'm sure they are going to always apply elemental mastery buffs. I still have like a weapon lined up for Nahida because I kind of want to use Nahida as like a main DPS, like a main damage dealer, and just have everyone supporting her.
Wow.
I'm kind of going antithetical to what she's going to be striving for because I like her. Her basic attacks are fun, Because if I have everyone supporting that one, I'm just gonna put everything into dendro damage, and then everyone else who's following along is a different element, anyways, and
Wait, then this
she'll
should be
get the
really good for
attack.
you.
It could, yeah, it could be, but I still already have a weapon lined up for her. So if that team works out, okay, then I might not need this. I'm still gonna try, but I kind of have like a set that I want to pick out.
Nice. I just like that it looks like a lamp. It's pretty cool.
It's actually pretty cool. I like the design.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, like we said, we'll see when people start doing the numbers. We'll see when we figure out um what her full skills are and like how they scale. We'll find out, I'm sure, pretty soon. Now, now that's it for today's Genshin news section. I want to go into the main topic of today with the lore learn along for Venessa. And in lore learn along, before we've done Alice, Klee's mom. So if you're interested in learning more about Alice, feel free to go back and find that episode. But in this episode, we're going to talk about Venessa, the one of the heroes of Mondstadt, who eventually ascended, is what I understood, at the end of her life. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. But Venessa is a very, very important character to Mondstadt's lore. And actually, I think the lore of all of Tevat. So we're just going to learn together. And I'm going to be mostly reading, and we're going to be talking about who this character is and how she affected the rest of the story. So, and this is from the Genshin-impact.fandom.com. It is a really, really robust Genshin Impact wiki that has tons of information and sources for all this information. So if you are interested, feel free to check it out yourself. Maybe I will link in the description to the website if you want to go check it out. So, ready to get started, Kahi?
Ready?
Okay, so I'll read like a paragraph or so, and I'll get to like a stopping point, and then I'll ask you if you have any thoughts, and if not, then we'll just keep going. Okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So Venessa. So Venessa is and if you've seen the title of this podcast, you'll probably see it, but the spelling is Vennessa. Okay? And Venessa was a hero of Mondstadt who lived around 1,000 years ago, during the era when the Mondstadt aristocracy reigned. Right? So the Mondstadt aristocracy was the ruling class of Mondstadt after the fall of the old Mondstadt, the Decarabian Mondstadt, which, if you recall, there is one of the talents for weapons called the Decarabian's book or something like that. And it was the old Mondstadt is called Decarabian's. Decarabian's Mondstadt is also commonly referred to as Old Mondstadt, and it was created by the god of storms Decarabian, who built this capital city within a deep valley and created a large tower which he ruled. His reign ended 26,000 years ago, 2,600 years ago, when his people rebelled against him and slew him, and then at the Anima Archon Barbados moved the people of Mondstadt to Cider Lake, where the current day Mondstadt was built. Okay, so basically where you fight Dvalin is like the old Mondstadt there, and they moved to where they currently are now. And the Mondstadt aristocracy ruled for 1,600 years after that. And they were at first noble protectors of the people, but then they became tyrannical and oppressive overlords. And so now back to Venessa. Venessa is a flame-touched Muratan, so someone from the Fire Nation, who was enslaved by those tyrannical nobles. She served as a gladiator in the Colosseum and became known as the Lionfang Knight for her undefeated streak, with the help of Barbados and Ragnvindir, who is a historical figure who lived among these people way back when as well. And the owners of the Dawn Winery are his descendants. So I guess technically Diluc is his descendant, is what it seems like. Yes, two of his known descendants are Diluc and Diluc's dad. So perfect. So, and we could always go into that more in detail in the future. But so Barbados and this guy Ragnvindir helped helped Venessa bring an end to the aristocracy and establish the current city of Mondstadt and the Knights of Favonius, becoming its first Grandmaster and Dandelion Knight. It is said that at the end of her life, she ascended to Celestia at Windrise and took the form of a falcon. Afterwards, she became the Falcon of the West, one of the four winds. Okay. Anything catch your attention here yet, Kahi? This is the summary.
The four winds. I know because there's Dvalin, who's of the east wind?
Something like that, yeah. No, she's
No, the east wind.
west. She's west.
It has to be east.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if she's west, then
And the wolf
Dvalin has
is
to be
the
from
north, I think?
east wind. Yeah.
The wolf of the north. Yes, and the dragon of the east, and
Yeah,
the
because the
falcon
wolf
of the
is
west,
also like
and
cold.
the lion of the south. There you go. Yeah, so those.
Oh, there you
those
go.
are the four
Now you have all
winds.
four.
Yes.
Cool.
So the four winds are the four entities that the Anima Archon Barbados, aka Venti, entrusted the safety and protection of Mondstadt to before he disappeared 1,000 years ago. They consist of the wolf of the north, the lion of the south, the dragon of the east, and the falcon of the west. Okay. Whew, so much Mondstadt.
I think it's pronounced Ron Vindir.
Ron Vindir. Okay, so Ron Vindir, this guy.
Yeah, I think the G is silent. It's just Ron Vindir.
Okay, I'll go with that for now. And yeah, so the Mondstadt has so much history. It's so interesting. So okay, we have the four winds, and of course, if you're interested in any more of this on your own, feel free to go to the wiki and delve down the rabbit hole that is the Genshin lore wiki. So okay, so she ascended to Celestia at Windrise and took the form of a falcon, which is why Windrise, the big tree, is a really important place, right? And now let's talk about her profile, her personality. Despite her tough exterior, Venessa was gentle and warm-hearted, traits not unlike her future successor, Jean Gunhilder. According to Venti, one of her closest allies, she also had a characteristically Muratan temper. Later generations admire her as a kind yet formidable woman. Venti comments that Jean's conscientious, courageous, considerate, and kind personality remind him of another close friend, likely referring to Venessa. She developed a strong bond with her remaining kin and shouldered the responsibility to protect and care for them, especially her younger sister, Lind. Having a strong sense of justice, she was determined to fight for their freedom. She was nonchalant about her imprisonment by the Lawrence clan, choosing to abide for the sake of her people's safety, despite Venti's pleas to free her. When her kin were sent to fight in the arena alongside her without warning, she feared for their lives, and after having witnessed their merciless murder at the hands of the Lawrence clan's archers, she was sent into a blind rage, slaughtering any enemies that lay in her path. It was this harsh treatment of her people that made her resent the aristocracy, a sentiment which motivated her to rebel against them. Okay, anything there?
Okay, hold up. Is Lawrence Eula's
Correct.
family?
Yes, so Eula is a descendant
so. Okay.
of the tyrannical nobles, which is why people automatically hate her, even though she doesn't care because she's not like that. She grew up kind of rebelling against her own house. Which is a whole different thing. We could do a whole episode on playable characters eventually, but yeah. So Eula Lawrence is part of the Lawrence clan.
And so Venessa is Diluc's ancestor. Is that right?
No, Venessa was friends with the guy who was Diluc's ancestor.
with.
Yeah, with Ravindir.
Okay.
Ravindir. Yeah. So
okay. So Diluc is not. Okay. Cool.
Ravindir, Venti, and Venessa were friends.
Okay, so I just wanted to double check. Diluc is not her child.
Correct.
Is not her descendant.
As far as we know, yeah.
Cool. All right. So she was a slave. She has a temper. She's very vicious. She was undefeated.
Her appearance.
And she was imprisoned.
Her appearance
was. What her hair color is?
Yeah, it should be red. So it says. Venessa was a woman of athletic build with tan skin and amber eyes. Her sturdy physique was likened to a brick wall by Venti, describing her as hard as stone. As a Muratan, she inherited her people's fiery red vermilion hair, which flowed down to her middle back and was braided behind her head. She sometimes wore gray earrings. During her time as a slave warrior, she was rather scantily clad. Beige pieces of fabric with a dark gold trim formed a loincloth hanging from her belt and a bra clipped at the front, while her right sleeve had a dark maroon trim. This maroon color was matched by a glove-like garment she wore in her right hand that was trimmed at the knuckles, as well as her thigh-high stocking and various armor straps. She had a pauldron strapped on her left shoulder over a gray mesh that extended from her collar across the entire length of her left arm. The mesh was also worn on her right leg. She also wore mismatched gray low heel sandals, the right one with an engraved foot cover that looped around her second toe, while the other one instead had thin cross straps extending to crew length. As proof of her enslavement, she had cuffs on her right wrist and left ankle. The latter was shackled to a ball and chain. And there is
I think you're describing some. You're describing a very very similar anime character. Did you ever watch Magi?
yeah, it's like Morgiana,
It's
right?
Morjana. I love this
Yeah.
character already.
So yeah, if you
It's
look
the
at the
best character ever.
wiki, like they have a picture. I don't know if it's official or if it's some artist rendition of her, but it looks a lot like Morgiana, and so it's pretty interesting. So
I'm gonna say that's probably just fan art because we would have seen official art already at some point. Because I don't remember hearing about this kind of character at all, even in like the main story.
yeah, but this looks like something that could easily be from like a side manga or something. So I mean, I'll look a little bit more
But like
later,
manga,
maybe.
so totally, yeah.
Yeah, I mean like from like an official one, because I didn't even know that there was an official manga until a year after it came out. To be honest, the Chinese one. Okay, so let's see here. The appearance. Okay, so story, childhood. Venessa is a Muritan, and her people spent generations wandering the land. However, their people often went hungry, and most of the knowledge passed down through the generations were combat and survival techniques rather than their history. One of the few stories she did here would be about Celestia, the abode of the gods. She was told that great heroes would be chosen by the gods to dwell with them in Celestia, becoming immortal and protecting the world with the gods. 10 years before she met Venti, Ursa the Drake hounded and stalked her clan for 4 days straight, starving them. After this, her clan ended up in Mondstadt after fleeing from Ursa, only to be enslaved by the rich nobles. Vanessa became a slave warrior, fighting in the Colosseum for the nobles' entertainment in order to help her sister Linda and her people be free again. She became known as Lionfang Knight for her undefeated streak, even slaying the Colosseum's previously undefeated champion. Vanessa's rebellion. On the day of Ludi Harpustum, which is the that festival that's celebrated every year that we've celebrated a couple times. So on the day of Ludi Harpustrum, Vanessa went out to buy herbs for her sickly sister Linda when Venti ran into her. Having raised the ire of Barca Lawrence, heir of the Lawrence clan and son of the city's ruler, Venti fled the scene and hid behind her for protection, forcing Barca to stand down due to her reputation. However, Barca had his father purchase Vanessa and her clan and then had her imprisoned. Venti paid her a visit in prison the night before her final battle and befriended her. He offered to break her and her people free, but she refused, claiming, "We must fight and claim our own freedom. We cannot beg for it. We must not kneel for it. Freedom given freely is only a guise for another shackle." Pleased with Vanessa's response, Venti left as he concocted a plan. The next morning, Vanessa is horrified to learn she is not fighting alone. Her entire clan, including the children and elderly, will be pitted against Ursa the Drake itself. Lord Lawrence declared if she can beat the monster in battle, she will win her people's freedom. He also had his archers slay any of her fellow clan members who attempted to escape the arena. When the commoners began to riot over the unfairness of the situation, Lord Lawrence added the keys to and the control of the city to her rewards, fully expecting her to fail. Despite despairing over the futility of her situation, Venessa refused to give up, striking down Hilichurls under Ursa's command and fighting Ursa herself. Before it can retaliate, Barbados appeared in angelic form, bolstering Vanessa's combat abilities and helping her drive Ursa away. With Vanessa's end of the bargain fulfilled, Barbados orders Lord Lawrence to hand over control to the city. While the manga, so there is a manga. While the manga ends her saga there, based
Oh, there
on
you go.
in-game lore, this triggered a much larger uprising throughout Mondstadt, with Vanessa as its rallying point. She was joined by the Dawn Knight Ramvindir, who was inspired to fight against the aristocracy after befriending the Wanderer's troop Sword Dancer, traitor to the Lawrence clan, Cruzleid, and the Gunhilder clan, which had refused to follow the other nobles in their typical tyrannical ways. So Gunhilder is a noble clan, like Jean's clan, but they weren't tyrannical. So in the midst of the rebellion, a secret treaty was found that claimed the nobles intended to sell them as slaves to Rex Lapis. Fearing for their own freedom, the soldiers serving the aristocracy turned on them and joined Vanessa's cause. It wouldn't be until generations later that historians would realize that this treaty was actually fake, and yet, unbeknownst to them, was that it was forged by none other than Barbados himself. Aha, so he got them
Wait,
he scared them into
wait.
thinking they were going to be enslaved so that they would fight for their own freedom.
Yeah, because hold on, yeah. Go back a little bit. What about Rex Lapis? They were gonna sell slaves to Rex Lapis, Zhongli.
This was um part of Venti's plan.
This was the trick. Like
yes, he faked like news of a treaty that was going to sell them to Rex Lapis, to scare them into fighting for Venessa, and it worked. And then they found out way
Okay.
later that, oh wait, this never actually was a thing, and we were just tricked, and we didn't actually have any fear of being sold as slaves to Rex Lapis. That wasn't a thing.
Yeah, because I don't think Rex Lapis would have taken that deal at all. Rex Lapis, that's not him. That's not what he
Right,
thinks.
right, exactly.
He
So
never had slaves.
that's why that's just Venti being Venti, right? So
Okay. All right. All right.
okay, so interesting. So yeah, so there is okay. So the manga, there is a manga, and I really want to read this manga, but I know what happens, but I want to read it anyway. But cool. So there's this, where they kind of overthrow the tyrannical Lawrence clan. And Mondstadt reborn, having successfully overthrown the aristocracy, Venessa led the city's reconstruction and established the Knights of Favonius to fight against any of those who would dare try to become, or those, oh, why do I say that? To fight against any of those who would try to become tyrants. She was its first Grand Master as well as the first Dandelion Knight. When she was exhausted by her duties, she preferred to meditate in solitude in the Eagle's Gate domain to clear her mind. Interesting. Legacy. Accounts about her life after her rebellion differ, but they all converge at the end of her life. According to legend, Venessa was recognized by the gods for her deeds and ascended to Celestia. The spot where she ascended at Windrise is where the massive oak tree, the symbol of Mondstadt's hero, now stands, said to have grown after her ascension. The symbol of Mondstadt's hero appears to have a direct connection to Celestia, which Venti utilizes twice during the prologue chapter of the Archon quests. After Venti sees that the traveler's presence is capable of purifying Dvalin's tears, tainted by the power of the abyss via Durin's poison and blood, he is inspired to head to the tree at Windrise to heal himself of that same poison. He returns there after Signora forcibly takes his gnosis. Because his body is created with an Archon's power, it cannot be healed through normal means. However, staying in the presence of the tree is capable of restoring his body. Interesting. Oh, and there is in the manga, the the manga of her, Venessa, ascending to Celestia. Wow, cool. It's in the wiki, so if you're interested. Okay, so that's what happened to Venessa. Thoughts?
Okay. So that was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So it all boils down to she. What was her people's names? The Maratha.
I mean, so they're from
Moratan.
Murata, but I don't remember if they had like a clan name.
Oh, but like the Maratans. Like
Yeah, like
Maratha is like
Murata's
their
the
homeland or the
yes,
place.
yes, yes.
Okay, so Maratha's not their family name. Maratha's a place. So
Murata
okay.
is it's like Liyue,
Mhm.
Mondstadt, Fontaine,
Okay.
Murata. Like we're gonna go to Murata eventually.
Oh, wait, Maratha still exists?
Yeah, is it Murata? The Murata is the.
Okay.
Oh
Mm,
wait. No, sorry. Natlan is the place. Murata is the Pyro Archon.
yeah, I remember Natlan. Mm-hmm.
But I think they call the
Yeah,
people
Natlan was the one that was
Muratans.
like
Yeah.
okay. Oh, so Moratan is a. Mm. So is it a clan of people? Moratan, Moratan, or
Huh.
Moratan
I
people?
don't think so.
Because if Natlan is the place,
Yeah.
mm, okay.
I mean, Murata's the name of the Pyro Archon.
Wait, Maratha is the name of the Pyro Archon. Is
Yeah.
that? Did you say that?
Huh?
Okay, I didn't. I did
Oh,
not
so
remember that part.
ready? So
Was that it?
I said that. Yeah. So Murata, also known as the God of War and the Lady of Fire, was the Pyro Archon. So this is the old Pyro Archon. Her status of a thousand years ago is unknown. By the time Venessa and her tribe, who Venti calls the children of Murata, were enslaved in Mondstadt, they had forgotten their history. So they're from the Fire Land under the rule of the old Fire Archon, Pyro Archon, and assumably now we have a different Pyro Archon. So let's see.
So the only known Pyro Archon so far was this woman,
Murata, I guess. Yeah.
Murata, and then
She's a
because
AFK.
my whole thing was
Like
I
Venti.
thought, yeah, I thought Scarlet King was like the old the old Pyro Archon, but I guess not.
Right.
He was
No.
probably just a king of a people, no Archon related.
Yeah. No, not at all. He's just not at all. And we know that now for sure.
Okay, yeah. Okay, the Ursa, was that Ursa defeated, destroyed in any way, or does the Ursa exist still?
That's a good question. Let me see here.
Okay, because what was his? Okay, the Ursa drove them out, and then they got caught by the Lawrence clan,
Yeah.
and then they had to fight against the Ursa, all united as one,
So
right?
Ursa the Drake is a dragon.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a bear. So that Ursa, that was a drag or a drake. You said.
Yes, Ursa the Drake.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they were being chased away by it. It hounded and stalked her clan for 4 days straight, starving them. And
Right.
then only they had to like in the end their big final fight that the Lawrence clan put them against was against Ursa in the arena. And then let's see.
Because if that Ursa is still alive, that'd be a cool boss fight. Because it's another
Yeah,
Drake. It's another
it
Dvalin.
says that they drove Ursa away.
Ah, okay. So Ursa's still alive.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, if Dvalin's still alive, then yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Dvalin is of the east.
Mm-hmm.
You have Venessa is now the Falcon of the west. You have uh the Wolf of the north, and is I'm assuming Ursa from the south.
Who? Ursa?
Is that right? Wait, who is the south one again?
The south is the lion. The lion of the south.
Lion. Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
wait, who's the lion? I thought we figured this out earlier.
I mean, we said who like we said that that's what it is. It's lion of the south, but we don't know. We don't know.
Oh wait, that's a protector. Yeah, Ursa's not the protector. Ursa's the enemy. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out like who's like the four major like the
So
four major
so
animals.
Vanessa is the falcon of the west. The wolf of the north is Lupus Boreas Andreas, and the dragon of the east is Dvalin, and the lion of the south is a unique position among the four winds that is passed down between the grandmasters and acting grandmasters of the Knights of Favonius to the title Dandelion Knight or Lion Fang Knight. However, Favonius' sword description states grandmasters may bear the title of wolf instead of lion, which puts the above information in question. It is also possible that the wolf tradition became obsolete in the past 500 years, and now that only the lion title is passed down. It is said that dandelions represent the blessings of the Lion of the South. So, technically Varka, I guess, since he's the actual
So
grandmaster.
the south one. Okay, so the south one is the one that's like mainly in Mondstadt with which is the Knights of Favonius.
Mm.
That's considered the south.
Yeah, so Venessa, I mean that's like a quick rundown of like Vanessa's story. Um, if you're interested in learning more about her or you want to read it again yourself, head over to the Genshin Impact Wiki. And a lot of these things that we've talked about, Mondstadt Aristocracy, Muratan, Barbados, Ragamudir, Knights of Favonius, Celestia, Windrise, Four Winds, all this stuff is clickable. You just click the link and you go to their page, and like really, it's like really interesting. You can just see everything. You can see some pictures from the manga as well. I don't know where to read the manga. I will look it up soon, but there are like some scenes from the manga that show what they are talking about here as references. Like when Venessa ascends to Celestia taking the form of a falcon, there is a panel for that. So, and this is, I believe, official. So, so that's Venessa. Super, super interesting character. I love her design. I mean, it does look like Morgiana. It's pretty interesting. But then after that, I'm pretty sure she like wears similar clothes similar to Jean. So in one of the pictures actually is a picture of her talking to Venti, and she's wearing clothes very similar to Jean. So, um, yeah, I think very very cool character. So any last thoughts on Vanessa, Kahi?
Well, I mean, her last known status is Ascension to the Falcon of the West,
Yes.
and that is currently the last known thing about her.
Yes.
Okay, so it is possible we could see her again. Not just in the past, not just like, oh, this character lived that long, we're never going to see them again. They died. They're done. So this is a potential, yeah, this is a potential resurrection.
I don't even know if it's considered resurrection. I think they just live forever because, um, really
Or I mean,
interesting.
like, reprisal.
There's one thing that was here. It says, the title of Falcon of the West also has conflicting accounts as to who exactly holds it. Common belief is that after Venessa ascended to Celestia, she became the Falcon of the West. In addition, even a vague, cryptic comment from Dainslev, the only character in game who mentions Falcon of the West, suggests that the current Falcon of the West is Venessa. However, according to the breeze amidst the forest, the entire Knights of Favonius are collectively the Falcon. And then the Temple of Falcon is located at Windrise and Galesong Hill between the city of Mondstadt and the massive oak tree where Venessa is said to have ascended to godhood. So yeah, I mean we will. I'm sure we'll find out more eventually, but there is a lot of lore. Like I love that Mondstadt still has so much we don't know. Like when they showed like more of its history a little bit with the last event with Razor and his parents. It was very interesting to hear more about Varka, the actual Grandmaster, who is still on an expedition, and I think his name's Mika, the other guy who was like part of the reconnaissance team or have you. And so I think Mondstadt, even though we started there and the story ended kind of fast compared to the other stories that we went through, and it's a smaller area than a lot of the areas that we've been to. I think it still has lots of room to grow, and there's still sections of it we don't know much about. So I'm excited to know more about that and its history too, if possible. So
I'm glad they're doing this to like the older regions because it tells you that they are invested to the entire world and game, not just add, leave everything behind. Because there's some other games that do that, and then it's not really good.
oh yeah,
And this is actually, it makes it feel more cohesive. Like the entire world is growing. The entire world has depth. The entire world itself has a lot of history and lore to explore. So it's not just, you can kind of tell that everything was built with intention. Of course, like they're slowly revealing the map, which is great. I wish more games hid more stuff, but then hinted that there's stuff over there. But just like plant seeds now, constantly like plant seeds as you make new trees.
yeah. They definitely have been doing a pretty good job at world building so far, but I'm just curious to see how they'll go as we move forward. So yeah, and then also what'll happen once we like have gone through all the nations. Like when do we go to Celestia? All that stuff. So all right, so that's our lore learn along for today about Venessa. Thank you all for joining us, and let us know in the comments like what did you like about Venessa? Is there anything interesting? Tweet at us at Genshin Guys Pod or comment on Spotify or wherever you're watching the podcast. And we will. That being said, we'll move into our second to last section of the day, which is the Whose Voice Line, episode 3. So welcome to Whose Voice Line, a segment where I'll be sharing some voice lines from the different official voiceover dubs found in the game. I want to do this segment because I love all the voice actors, and I feel like this is a great chance to give some recognition for the hard work that they do. The format is this. I will share 3 voice lines from one character in each of the 4 languages: English, Japanese, Korean, and Chinese in that order. Then I will give you all some time to think. Feel free to pause the podcast if you really want some more time to think, and then I'll have Kahi guess. After that, I will reveal the answer. So, a lot of this is, does the voice line, does the character's personality, is it conveyed even though you may or may not understand the language of the character, right? Now, this is also a test of how well you know the characters in Genshin, so, feel free to play along. Feel free to wait and play along later if that is what is best for you, or play along with your friends. Okay, so let's get started. Let me load up my voice lines here. Kahi, are you ready?
Ready to listen.
Okay, so first character is going to be in English, okay?
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Look, there's a pigeon over there. I wish I could fly alongside them. Albino spends most of his time in his workshop, tinkering away with all of his awesome stuff. But when you see him in person, you can never quite tell what he's thinking. Not a clue at all. Hey, happy birthday! Here, I have a gift for you. An exclusive, custom-made version of Baron Bunny that I sewed for you myself. Don't worry. Custom-made means that it won't explode.
All right, I'll give you a second to think about it.
I didn't want to answer it too early, but I kind of know who this one is.
All right,
It's been
who
a while
is
since
it?
I
Who
heard the
is
voice
it,
too.
Kahi?
It's good old Amber.
Yay, Amber.
First girl we ever interacted with.
Best girl. I mean, what? Okay. All right. So, all right. So that is our first one. That's
Canonically, maybe.
That's correct. Now for my next one, we'll be doing in Japanese. Okay.
重要な情報がある場所には死に至る殺意が潜んでいるものよ。どんなに頼りになる部下でも危険を徹底的に排除することはできない。だから状況を打破できるほどの武力こそ要。幸いにも私はこの道理を悟った数日後に神の目を手に入れた。そうでなければここに立って君と話をしていたのはおそらく宝刀後面の幽霊だったかもね。宝刀イタチは知ってる？知能は平凡だけど人為的に飼いならすと熟練した窃盗の腕を持ちながら鍵開けまでできるようになるの。とてもいい例よね。だって方法さえ合っていれば動物ですら駒として使えるってことだもの。互いに身を削り合う人間もそれと同じことをしていると思わない？
Okay. What do you think? I'll give you a second to think about it. Okay, Kahi, who do you think it is?
I want to say this is Candace?
Is that your final answer?
I'm going to go with Candace, yeah.
Okay, it's actually.
こんにちは、旅人。私のことはヤランでいいわ。
Wait, that's Yelan? Okay, I thought she'd have a little bit more sass to that. Like a little bit more mystique. But yeah, no, she talks fast. It makes sense. Okay, it starts to make more sense. I mean, I got the element right.
Right. You got that? Okay. I don't know if we're not counting that way, but okay.
Counts. That counts. That was close though.
So yeah, but that was a good guess. I think they have very similar vibes. So, okay, so that's Japanese. So let's move on over to Korean.
모처럼의 기회인데 같이 날아볼까? 오라! 이건 추추족 인사야. 이걸 배워서 뭐 하냐고? 와, 아는 게 많을수록 좋은 작품이 나오는 거야. 그러고 보니 추추족 언어로 가사를 써본 적이 없구나. 여행자, 세실리아를 본 적 있어? 조용한 절벽 꼭대기에 말없이 피는 흰 야생화야. 내 생각엔 티베트에서 가장 아름다운 꽃인 것 같아.
I'll give you a second to think about it.
Oh, this is kind of tough.
Yeah. Okay, who do you think it is?
Oh man, okay. I want to say, I mean, the only like unique thing about that voice line was like when she like raised her voice to like call at you or something.
Like hola.
Man, who is? Yeah, I thought it was Yoimiya at first,
이건
but
추추족 인사야.
that's probably.
이걸 배워서 뭐 하냐고? 와, 아는 게 많을수록 좋은 작품이 나오는 거야. 그러고 보니 추추족 언어로 가사를 써본 적이 없구나.
Oh man, okay. It sounds too. It sounds too mature to be Yoimiya, but okay, you know what? I'm just gonna say Yoimiya. I'm probably wrong, but that's the only thing I can link it to.
Okay, well, it's a decent guess, but it is actually a different archer. It is Venti.
Wait, that's Venti? Oh my god. Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's tricky,
gosh.
right?
That is so tricky because, yes, even English does that.
There's
yeah.
There's female voice actress for all the languages.
For the male.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Why? Okay. Oh
Okay.
yeah, I would have never got that.
Yeah, but it was a decent guess. You got the archer right. You got the fact that it was an archer right. Okay.
Okay, I'm
And
close. I'm still
uh-huh.
close.
Yeah, so last one is gonna be in Chinese, okay?
Alrighty.
Okay, hold on a second.
说起菲谢尔，他也自称是异世界的来客，这一点和我一样呢，而且都带着一只宠物。如果说一个丘丘人能打3头野猪的话，秦团长和迪卢克老爷分别有几丘丘战斗力呢？我听说艾伯特先生作为芭芭拉粉丝团的团长，经常故意弄出些磕磕碰碰的伤，就为了去教堂见芭芭拉一面。
Okay, who is it?
Do you have another voice line from this character? Or is that the only one?
Oh, yeah, I have one more. Hold on.
Okay, I could get one. I could use one more.
最近听古华派的弟子讲了这样一个故事。
You heard it?
Okay. Talks a little quick, so he's not too smooth. He can't be Zhongli. He can't be. I wanted to say Ayato, but it's probably not Ayato.
丽莎提到过的那些禁书区的书，你有没有好奇过，什么样的书会被放在禁书区里呢？莫非会有那种不适合小孩子看的书？
There.
I wanna say Ayato. Because it feels like he matches Ayato's personality pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't sound too high class.
Damn.
It sounds almost overly friendly. Okay, I'm just gonna settle on Ayato because I don't know who else to pin this to.
Okay. You ready? It was actually Traveler.
Wait, really? Wait, so when did we ever talk that much? I don't remember that long of a voice line.
Wait, do you not? So like, if you go into profile, where you can hear the characters' voice lines, like there's a ton of voice lines where Traveler and Paimon are just talking back and forth.
Right, but I don't remember any of that during the gameplay. That's the problem.
None of it is
So I
during the
don't really
gameplay.
hear his voice at all.
Yeah, I know, but that's
Okay,
that's
so
why it's
I
difficult.
was never supposed to know this. Okay.
It's not that you weren't supposed to know
so
this.
that was an impossible one.
It's not that you're not supposed to, like, for example, like a lot of the 4 stars that we get, like they don't have a lot of storylines, right? Like,
But we hear their voices.
yeah, but you hear Traveler's voice all the time if you use them.
When? When was the last time we talked? I don't remember.
During their whole Sumeru quest line, every time that they think in their head. Like, remember you have to like click all those little word bubbles and they're all voiced. They're all fully voiced.
Okay.
So like if there's any time to know
to your
Traveler's
point,
voice,
yes,
it's
I
right now.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's just okay.
Yeah.
That was like thinking lines though. It doesn't really expand on a lot of personality because I
Yeah.
remember those lines, but they always had like that massive reverb and thinking in your head.
Well, let me
Didn't
tell
really have
you,
much
like,
personality when you think.
you would probably get it
Okay.
if it was in English or maybe even Japanese. But that's why I put it in Chinese.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, when you can hear it in your language, you know what they're saying specifically, and you can tie that to the person. But okay, that was tricky because I'm just not used to hearing his voice at all.
Perfect.
So it's not even in my head yet.
I was trying to trick you, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a trick. That was a big trick.
Yeah, so that's it. So that's great. Good. I mean, otherwise, I tried to make it really tricky today. Obviously, the Amber one was like was the easiest one. I thought maybe because we haven't heard her in so long, maybe you might be like confused because you and I both mostly play with Japanese voices. But I think I accidentally left in a line that said Baron Bunny, so it was kind of like, oh man, this is definitely Amber. But yeah. So anyway, I love that game. Let us know if you listening got it right. Let us know in the chats, in the comments, in the Twitter. And yeah, thanks for playing. And thank you, Kahi. Thanks for being the
Alrighty.
test dummy. Okay.
This is still fun. I like trying to guess this.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the last section of the day, our community question discussion. And last week we asked if you were to inherit their power, what elemental archon would you be and why? So for me and Kahi's responses, so Kahi, what would you be and why?
I would most likely want to inherit Zhongli's power just because I do really like that shield. And it does have like a lot of versatility with creating geostructures. So I could create houses, I could create shelters, I could create mountains. I like that whole like idea of being like creative with it, but also being very, very hard to kill is also really,
Very
really cool.
hard to. I
'Cause
don't
I
know
could
why you would
still
need that skill in real life,
very
but
hard to
okay.
kill. Well, I mean, I would be invincible basically. I like that.
You're right.
Um, but yeah, it's just I don't have to worry about getting damaged. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that or like see the value in that kind of stuff. A lot of these other offensive abilities is actually really, really good, but like, what about you? Are you taking care of yourself?
Yeah,
Are you gonna have a
if you
weakness?
want to have
Mm-hmm.
some like if you just feel like eating some giant spaghetti and you need a giant meatball, you can just call it down wherever you want from the skies, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Conjure my own my own like special geo chopsticks to eat the food with.
They're like considered
What about you,
geostructures, and
Josh?
they're just pulsing while you're holding them, like.
Uh-huh.
For
Yeah.
me, yeah. For me, I think I would be Venti because I would love to fly. I think that's kind of as of the archons we know so far, I definitely would enjoy that a lot. I think so.
Yeah, but I would have the same ability. I would just create like a monolith, but horizontally.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what floats your boat, yeah, sure. I just want to fly
It will
without
definitely float.
using a monolith. Like that's all I ask. I just want to fly without a monolith, please. So okay, so yeah, so I mean that's our responses. Thank you all for answering. We have so many responses. So Kahi, would you go ahead and read the responses for our question?
Mm-hmm. All right. So in no particular order, we have Sam. Sam says, I would want Nahida's powers so I don't have to get up to grab my remote or my phone and things like that with the skill. Now, would it go into your inventory? So would it go into your bag and now you have to reach into your bag to get the remote? That would be a little bit of an extra step, wouldn't it?
Oh my
But
god, that's so
no,
specific.
I see the value in that. I see the value in that. Yes, that's actually pretty funny. What do you think? How would you use Nahida's powers?
I would get a job where I like harvest oranges or something, and then I would go outside and just go bloop and grab all them, and then make a ton of like a day's work done in like seconds.
Alrighty. Well, we have also Anna Palmer. I'd like to have Venti's power because I want to be able to fly. Hey, what do you know, Josh? You also have
Hey.
someone who wants to fly as well. It's not as cool as Raiden's Bulbasaur, but it would be really fun.
I like that booba sword.
Okay, well, there's that. That's all they all call it that. That'd be great. But yeah, Venti's power seems to be very popular. Next up, we have Alchemy. This person, Alchemy. I would be the Hydro Archon because unfair justice requires no reasoning, and that's how all my arguments are.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Unfair justice requires no reasoning.
So the Hydra Archon, I don't know if you know this, but
Hmm.
like Fontaine is known for its like court system.
Interesting.
So I'm really thinking that the Fontaine chapter is gonna be like a legit Phoenix Wright. Like Yanfei comes in and like there's this whole thing. Like a lot of people are speculating that Fontaine's story may revolve around the court system and like maybe Traveler being ousted for something and you have to like legally fight your way through it. So maybe this
I
person
hope
is
not.
referring
That
to
seems
that.
a little. I mean, I hope it's. I mean, that's a good theme. That's a good theme. And, like, the whole, like, judgment is still a cool concept, but I hope there's more than just, like, a court martial. It's
I
like,
mean, I'm sure.
all
I'm
of your
sure they'll
crimes
make
against Halo
it
Turtles will be
interesting.
answered now.
Oh my god. I'm sure they'll make it interesting.
Okay. Well, unfair justice requires no reasoning. Interesting. I like that line for some reason. The Traveler. This person says Zhang Li. Hey, there you go. So we're 1 for 1. Zhang Li because I would like to put up a shield whenever I want. P.S. If you are listening from Australia, like me, please, or if you're listening from Australia, like me, please do the down under hashtag. I guess we could do that. we could inform and alert all of our listeners from Australia. For those of you listening from Australia, hello, good day.
Good day. Hashtag down under.
Alrighty. So yeah, you have one, I have one follower, you have one follower. Pimzo Balto. Alright, Pimzo, break the tie. Oh, Venti.
Yeah, Pimzo.
Venti, because I could travel. Okay, fine, you get two. Because I could travel so much easier. Also, being talented at playing an instrument is something that I would love as an ability. Would that be part of his ability?
I mean, why not?
Could. Yeah.
You
why
inherit
not?
you
Yeah,
inherit
we'll
their
give you that.
power. I guess maybe that could extend to like their powers that they've learned themselves too.
What was the instrument called? Was it called the harp or was something else? A lyre.
Lyre.
The holy lyre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up we have Primo Gem is God. That is your name. That is great.
I thought
Primo
that was
Gem
good.
is God. Pyro, cause I love many Pyro characters like Zhang Ling, Xinyan, Bennett, Dila, Klee, and Yoimiya. I think you're forgetting Dea. You're forgetting the most important one.
Oh, she's not out yet.
Yeah, Pyro. I know, but that's the best one. Yeah, what do you think? Pyro. Okay, Pyro Archon. I wonder what the ability would be. Interesting. What do you think a Pyro Archon ability would be?
You can cook anywhere without having to use a cooking pot. Sounds pretty useful.
That would be cool. All right. Well, we have next up Phoebe Noble 11. I mean, Nahida. Not that I totally want to adopt her as my child, or that this is all in quotes, by the way. I mean, Nahida, not that I totally want to adopt her as my child, or that, but I mean leaf powers and grass stuff. No, I just think the dendro plant is magic, or dendro plant magic is cool, plus I'm a nature lover. Okay, so Phoebe Noble has, an affinity for leaves and nature and grass.
Green
Interesting.
thumb.
Probably the only listener that touched grass.
Did I tell you about that? My Nilu Dendro team, like my 2 Hydro 2 Dendro team, is called Touch Grass.
Of course it is.
Okay, sorry. Continue.
Next up, we have sci-fi. No, you're good. Next up, Sci-Fi Dragon. Hydro, you trump Pyro. Oh, sorry, Primo Gem is God. You have your nemesis. Sci-Fi Dragon says, Hydro, you trump Pyro and can work well with Dendro and Cryo. None of the other elements are really effective against it, like Cryo on Electro, Pyro on Cryo. You have a point. However, Mr. Sci-Fi Dragon, I would be inheriting Zhongli's power of, unmovable mountains. So what is water to a mountain god? Never thought of that one, did you?
Dang. What is water to a god?
I think honestly, Cryo. What is water to a god? Here's the thing. None of the other elements are really effective against it. I would dare say that the Cryo Archon could literally stop you. And I honestly think that the Cryo Archon, the Saritsa, is actually a bigger threat than we think. Because from what we've seen of the trailers, her area of effect is huge. We don't even see her, but she can freeze an entire building, probably even a city, without being there. That's a very wide range of, affecting your power.
Dang, it sounds OP.
I mean, Zhongli can conjure stuff. It does sound OP, because you can slow down any of the other Archons, potentially. But we'll get into that discussion later. Next up, we have Peachy on Genshin. Nahida, as I can sit on a swing and take pictures. Okay. They're not thinking of power at all. They're just thinking of pure fun. Okay, I like this because they're just thinking of.
You can create a swing and then swing on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
I will concede to that one. Yeah, I can conjure like mountains, but I cannot make a swing. I mean, rock can't move. So
yeah, what is a mountain to a swing god?
And then next up we have Lex Loothole. I wish for the element of surprise because no one would see that coming.
Oh my god! I'm the surprise Archon.
Surprise! It is Paimon. Well, would that really be a surprise? There's people that suspect her already. Who would be the surprise Archon? Like no one would think this person would be an Archon.
Venti.
Oh, what was the snake's name?
Oh,
Dang
Baizu.
it! What was that? Baizu snakes. What was? I keep forgetting that snake. That tsundere snake.
Yeah. I'll look it
Dang
up.
it.
Hold on. Baizu snake.
Yeah. What was her name?
Chang Chang.
Chang Chang? You really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
I like her voice. It's a sassy snake.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Next up we have Tiori. I would be Hydro Archon because possibly his personality is based on water. Okay, that's a good argument. Yeah, water very fluid, flow like water, my friend. Water can be quite, but also very loud and dangerous. True. You have tsunamis. You have rain, storms. I'm like that, and also, yay, video format, possibly. I still, okay, outputting those videos takes a long time to export and upload. It takes like a whole night to do one. So what I'm doing right now is I'm exporting the video, I'm making it like 720. I'm lining the files up to then find a time to actually upload because every time I come home, it's like already late at night, and then if I have to spend the whole night up until I go to sleep, just getting one video out, it's rough. It is rough because especially I gotta keep up on Genshin stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm slowly getting those videos out. So it'll be done eventually, but you gotta give me some time. It's a lot of work. Hydro Archon. What do you think the Hydro Archon personality could be like? Yeah. Any thoughts on personality, perhaps?
Oh,
Flow like water, very fluid.
I mean, if they're gonna be this like person who really likes this like justice system, then maybe they're gonna be kind of I hope that the Archon's gonna be like straight up tsundere, like straight up, just like like
Bipolar.
kind of in that sense almost. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. Like I hope that the Hydro Archon is fun. Like Nahida's fun, but like she's kind of like serious fun, and she's pretty serious most of the time. Like I think her story's pretty dark, but like we'll see. I don't know. They all have to have tragic backgrounds, right? So
I guess so. Because you have Zhongli, he's very stoic. Doesn't like to expend too much energy, but will drop a meteor to end everything. I will have order. And then
right.
you have Electro, which is very quick and powerful. Very, I would say lightning is also kind of like a judgmental, like lightning strike, smite from above, like very decisive cut and very powerful and also unstable. But, it adds to like the scary factor. Nahida, I mean, Venti, go with the wind, free spirit. You can't really control wind because it's not really tangible in a way. So, yeah, you can't really hold it down. Nahida being Dendro, life giving, very. What would I say? Yeah, just very bright. Very, like, lively. Hydro could be very similar. But yeah, I like the idea, like Thierry brought out. It could be very loud and dangerous, but also kind of like quiet and calm. So probably bipolar. Tsundere could kind of be like that. That'd be awesome. Next up, Very Sour 14, the Tsaritsa. So Very Sour 14 wants to inherit the Cryo Archon's power because I have plenty of Gnosis and all the other Harbingers bowing at my feet.
That's a pretty good reason.
All right, well, that is a good reason, yes, because you have an army. You have basically the Akatsuki of Genshin. That's a good reason.
Naruto reference.
All right. Hey, we have too many hashtags already. We have to put the down under hashtag in the next one. Okay. All right. And that is the end of our comments. I love all these comments because we have a lot of people recurring, a lot of people who like to stick around for the discussions. And it's great because we like to ask like questions that let you be creative, that let you come up with some ideas. Like the elemental one, that was great. And then we have some good ideas there. We have, what Archon would you be and why? Next question. Josh, would you like to ask this one? Would you like to introduce the the class to the next week's homework assignment?
Yeah, okay, if you put it like that, no, but yeah, sure, if you want me to ask them a question, I'll do that. Okay, so With what we know so far, do you think the Harbingers are good or evil? And why? That's our question of the week. Now, if any of you all...
I really want to answer this.
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to hear it. If any of you have questions that you want us to ask to the community, let us know on Twitter or let us know on Twitter. I think that's the best way. Feel free to comment it as well, just in case. But yeah, we'd love to hear your responses, just like Kahi said. And this is our next question, so let us know what you think. Okay, everybody, that wraps up the show for today. As always, thanks for listening. And if you have time, please leave us a comment and a review. We'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are listening. Follow us on Twitter at Genshin Guys Pod. Find me at JSide Gaming, at JSide Gaming on Twitter, and twitch.tv/JSide. Kahi, where can the people find you?
KAHIYAO. It's pretty much anything that you can find out there is most likely me.
Okay, great. So that ends our episode for today. And as always,
Ad Astra Abyssos.
Hoshito Shien o Mezase!
Enjoy.